It was a time of uncertainty around the world in the late 1920s. Political and financial uncertainty shook the global landscape, and China was in the midst of a civil war. The conflict forced missionaries all over China to withdraw from their stations. Yet despite these turbulent times, on the 15th of March 1929, the China Inland Mission issued an appeal for 200 new workers to join the forward movement within the next 2 years. At the time of the appeal, Frank Houghton was part of the China Inland Mission Home Council in the UK. Houghton was a prolific poet and songwriter who knew the power of a song to encourage the church into action. In 1930, he put pen to paper and wrote the hymn Facing a Task Unfinished, a challenge to believers to wake up, pray, and commit themselves to go and make Jesus known. Young men and women came forward to serve in China despite the risks, and by the end of 1931, over 200 new workers had responded to the call and set sail for China. Modern hymn writers Keith and Kristyn Getty have loved Frank Houghton's songs and poetry for many years. They too found themselves challenged by the hymn.
Last year, Keith and I were approached by OMF to look at this hymn, Facing a Task Unfinished, and to rewrite it, refresh it, rearrange it.
I grew up singing this hymn as a young guy and at university, and I think it's no coincidence that at the times in my life I was most excited about sharing my faith, most committed to mission. I was singing hymns like this because what we sing affects how we think, speak, pray, and ultimately the choices that we make.
The political, economic, and global instability of the 1920s and 30s is all too familiar to us now. As relevant today as it was 90 years ago, this inspirational song is becoming a call to make Jesus known among the nations. But what is still to be done? What is the task unfinished? Almost 1/3 of the global population are still unreached. That's over 2 billion people who currently don't have access to a church, a Bible, or any believers who could introduce them to Jesus. For OMF now, this challenge is once again a call to the task unfinished among East Asia's peoples. Along with the church and missions globally, let us join together to sing, to pray, and to act as we face the task unfinished.